morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to Question and Narrative. My name's Anil.
And my name's Dawn. Hi.
Hello there. I know it's been a while since we did the last video, the last proper one, which was, I believe, was it Antarctica?
It was
Antarctica, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Hopefully we should be back on the channel properly now and be regular kind of updates and videos and things like that. So basically, we're going to go through a few subjects today. Some are like questions which have come up, some are kind of current events, and we're just going to go through those, really. So what we're going to be going through today, so today's topics are giants/titans. We're going to be looking at elite paedophilia, and we'll have a little bit of a look into the Wayfair thing. As well as that, we're going to kind of touch on race wars,
but also not.
Yeah, we'll just kind of that'll come clear in a minute. Then we're going to go over Archbishop, is it Vigano's? Vigano.
Yes.
Archbishop Vigano's letter. It's okay. It's all right. Just leave that. We've got a cat in here. That's basically the noise you can hear while we were going to get up and kind of scooting about. So we're going to go through Archbishop Vigano's letter, I believe, to Trump, was it?
Yes.
And, that, and then we're going to kind of finish off with the last topic, which is going to be kind of about research, QAnon, and just kind of have a look into one of the posts by QAnon as well. Okay, so let's crack on. So the first thing we're going to look at is giants and titans. And the reason why we're going to do this is we had somebody on social media kind of ask the question. I don't know if it was directly to you or whether it was just on a post, but basically kind of around the time when there was the photo of the giant, where there was the photo of the giant next to Air Force One, next to the engine, and there was also a video released of I think they were walking across the White House along with Trump, a few security and other people, and there's again a really huge man walking there as well. Okay, so what we're going to look at first is basically, yes, giants, there is evidence to show giants existed, and we're going to have a look at sort of some of the proofs of giants there, okay? So, there's been a few incidents. I'm just literally going to go through a few of the evidence of what we found, and we will also put up the actual screenshots, and we'll put obviously the links below so you can have a look at them for yourself. But the first one's a bit sort of in pieces, but there is large bones that were found in stone graves in Williamson County, average height of 7 foot.
Thank you.
Sorry, no paper.
In 1833, soldiers were digging at a place called Lompoc Rancho, and that's in California, and they found a male skeleton which was 12 foot tall as well.
A 9 foot 8 inches skeleton, which was found when soldiers were digging. I'm just doing a previous one. Sorry about that. No. 9 foot 8 skeletons excavated from a mount near Brewersville, Indiana, in 1879.
In 2013, in Ecuador, after heavy storms, there was a large female skull that was found, and that skull actually dated to be approximately 600 years old.
Yeah. As well as that, we've got these kind of moving off the actual specific topics, but if you have a look at the Sumerian cuneiform tablets, looking at the Anunnaki and everything, if you've seen the visuals and the kind of like the pictures which were set in stone by the Sumerians, again, the Anunnaki kings, the gods, small g, were depicted as being a lot taller, almost like twice the height in some cases, or more taller than, like, if you like, the subjects that they were ruling over.
The Book of Enoch. You need to go and read into that, research into that, and check out the Elohims and the Nephilims in there as well. Yeah. And that will give you some more info with regards to giants.
Some of you might be going in regards to that one, well, that's not proof of giants. That was just kind of me going into a bit of the details of, look, there's evidence of giants everywhere, and just kind of diversing away from kind of like the actual evidence of going, look, it's written about here in a book that's, however many thousand years old. As well as that, we've got in the late 1900s to the early 20th century, in the New York Times wrote about the Red River Valley and giants that were found there.
And then obviously we have the pre-Adamites, and the pre-Adamites, if you know about them, are 9 foot tall, and they're approximately around about like 500,000 years old. If you don't know about the pre-Adamites, then that's absolutely essential for you to know about. You can literally just Google pre-Adamites or anything about Antarctica, and generally they'll mention like pre-Adamites and things like that.
Yeah, the good ones to follow for that one is Corey Good, David Wilcox for Divine Cosmos. If you YouTube it, I don't know which videos, and I'll try and link the specific videos, but they are with Wilcox and Divine Cosmos. They are long videos, so I have to kind of troll through and find it, and I've saved a few of them, and they're kind of like the giants heading of these pre-Adamites, so I don't know which one, but I'll link a couple through which mention the pre-Adamites. But yeah, they talk about it through Corey Good in regards to Antarctica and everything, which we have touched on in our previous Antarctica video. But yeah, about pre-Adamites there. Okay, so that's kind of just like some of the evidence, and like I said, whilst we're going through this, we should have screenshots of a few of the pages of other evidence that's tagged in, and like I said, we'll link it below. Okay, so the next question kind of comes up if you might think, okay, well, there's some evidence of, proof of giants there throughout history and various that you've seen. So, but, why is it hidden? Why is all this kept secret from us, basically? And the simple answer for that is, which will come up later, and I'm going to use it from the paedophilia thing, but basically we're run by, we're slaves on this planet, essentially, slaves to the ruling families. The hierarchy, as it were, that they've deemed is the way that it should be. So it's simply a case of that one, that we're not told this because it's the truth. The truth will lead to our I can't remember the word, but our freedom. So this is why it's all hidden. Because of the basic reason the giants tie into our history, our past history, because obviously it's written in history about these giants and everything. That ties into, obviously, okay, where did the giants come from? Are they inner Earth? Are they us from the future, as some have proposed? Are they extraterrestrial? And when that question comes up, then that covers everything in regards to free energy and things like that. Why we haven't got it in questions like that come up. Anyway, I digress. So. I've done that, sorry. Yeah. So that's really it. I know it's very short, that one, but that was just a little bit of information to put in. Go and have a look at the links that we put up on it. Go and have a look at the evidence. I'll link through about, like I said, pre-Adamites and things like that, and obviously so you can go and have a look at, actually, like I said, the evidence for it. But why are we doing this video? Because the photos of the giants were seen at Air Force One. Why are the photos of the giant seen at Air Force One in the video of it? Is basically because through the space program, Trump is releasing our secret space program. And when I say our, because some people are going to go, you're not American, how can you say our? By our, I mean the human race moving forward. So, but yeah, this is... what was I saying? Yeah, through the secret space program, that's where they're going to release, obviously, the giants are essentially, part of, some of them are ET beings. Why are they bigger than us? Well, they're only giants to us. If you look at the Corey Good evidence, again, through Divine Cosmos and David Wilcox, from the insiders, a lot of the beings are normally 7 foot and above. There are the smaller greys, but the majority of species out there are actually what we would class as giants to us, but that's only perceptual. We class it as, oh, they're giants, they must, but they're not. To them, we must look like, we may be hobbits or, dwarves. And they're just going, oh, cute little things. So, it's just a perceptual thing that they just happen to be bigger. But that's where they come from, basically. Alright, so next topic.
Yeah, the next topic is completely different to giants, a little bit dark, and it's moving on to what it is that the elites are doing to our children. And mainly why. This is the question that I have been asked quite a lot recently is, why is it that the elites are doing what it is that they're doing? Why is it that they're trafficking? Why is it that they're raping the children and the adrenochrome? Why? Which is a great question to ask. There's multifaceted reasons. There's loads of reasons why, because it's not just one answer for one kind of topic and then another answer for another topic, say like giants or free energy or anything like that. And what you'll realise is that with the web there are multiple reasons as why they do one particular thing, and it's so we go towards the new world order, and it's never done on a long-term plan. It's never done on a short-term plan, it's done on a long-term plan. So they drip things into society so that in 100 years time that would just be the norm. So, multifaceted reasonings all lead into us becoming New World Order, one world government. And specifically the torture that creates the low negative vibrations, that's actually food for archons. It's actually a substance that gives them energy, like the elixir of life. Another is because the children are pure and innocent. That's the reason why children are chosen over adults, because over time adults have become desensitized to, you know, monsters and to pain, because we've either seen war, or your grandparents have been in war, or we've watched movies and we've watched horror movies and things like that. So, you know, and the news as well, everything is just hate and war and horrible and negative. So as you grow up, you become desensitized to things. So the reason why they're choosing the children is because they are actually easier to terrify, and their souls are pure, and that, you know, they are actually innocent beings. They, you know, they kind of come with like no sin or anything like that. And because they are easier to terrify, it just means that the amount of adrenaline that goes through them, that courses through their bloodstream and into their adrenal gland, it makes them easy victims to then be harvested. So one of the things that the elites do is actually harvest the adrenal gland, because it creates something that's called adrenochrome. Adrenochrome is where the adrenaline has gone to the gland through the, you know, through terror and torture and all of these things that Hillaries and such like do. And when it's harvested, it obviously touches the oxygen, it becomes oxidized, and that turns into adrenochrome. Because the children are, you know, pure and innocent, and they are, you know, so easily scared, that creates a surge of adrenaline that runs through them. When the pedivores, and that is a word that you need to check up on, pedivore, when they consume the blood, or when they actually consume the gland, it contains the adrenaline. And when that's oxidized, it creates the adrenochrome, which is just like a massive drug. If you want to have a look at the kind of things that adrenochrome users go through, Hollywood plain sight would be Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas with Johnny Depp. So I would just advise you to go and YouTube that particular clip, and then you'd be able to see what kind of trip and what kind of trip he's on. Thirdly, the people that do this are part of a Babylonian death satanic cult. It's literally their religion, and they take it very, very seriously. So yeah, there's a couple of examples there as to why it is that they do what they do, and I think, you know, I think that's enough for you to be able to go off and learn things yourself as to why, because there's loads of reasons as to why. I can't just sit here and give a massive ream, you know, but 2 or 3 examples is, I think. Yeah,
I mean, the basic thing, what I was trying to get the point of this is that essentially, you know, people going, well, why do they fettle kids, and why do they drink kids, why do they all this stuff? The basic reason for it is that we've been led for the last at least 500,000 years on this planet,
by a death cult,
which you might not believe, but when real history comes out, you'll understand. But yeah, by a satanic death cult. They believe that they are better than us due to the occultist or almost alchemists, kind of like the witchcraft and that, which is in Western society is, you know, poo-pooed. That actually through that, for example, the whole thing about adrenochrome, you know, the scaring a child so much that the adrenaline and everything that's pumped in, because they are pure, their blood becomes so enriched with adrenaline, which is the substance of, as I think Dawn said, it's become, when it oxidizes to then become adrenochrome. They drink it, they get a massive high off it. Yeah. It makes them younger. There was the boxer who said today that also that it helps the collagen. It basically rejuvenates the collagen in the skin, which is your youth formula. And as he pointed out, and Dawn said earlier on, you have a look at some of the celebrities when they've been off it, they look like at least a minimum of 10 years. I mean, as the boxer said, you know, in some cases 20, 30 years, they look older.
Within a space of a month, he said. Yeah. He says, and these are people that he actually knows, because he's the heavyweight boxer, and I'll link his video below from, it was either Twitter or TikTok, something like that.
You'll know it if you've probably seen it, because it's famous. It's been out there for a while. Yeah. This is kind of like then linking in, and we wanted to do a short video, but this is what we mean. It's so complicated and convoluted, and there's so much information, and we're kept so dumb, so we don't understand it all. But so the science is to doing it the wrong way, of as they do the science of doing what they do. If you want to look at it as very dualistic, the other way to do it would be through meditation and drinking purely, eating purely, all that stuff, and loving thoughts and all that stuff in the other sense. So there's one or two ways to get that. Essentially they've chosen the dark path. Which is that's why they do it. Why do the fetal kids? Because this all links into the energies. We're energy-based creatures. Everything in the universe is an electrical universe. That energy transfers.
Yeah.
You've heard the old cliche of the Bob's turn 50, 60, he's had a midlife crisis. Does he go buy a car? No, he's gonna go and fuck on his wife and go out, go and sleep with an 18-year-old or whatever, 20-year-old. Oh, why did you do that? Oh, it made me feel so young. It gives me new life. There's that. Okay, well, why does it give you that? Because of the energy shared. It's a younger person. That then ties into the whole thing about whether now even taking the blood of teenage, injecting them intravenously into themselves to make them younger. This is the science behind it.
Yeah, the transfusions, the blood transfusions.
What's her name? Bullock came out and said about, how do I keep so young? I use the foreskin or the blood from the foreskin.
Cream.
Yeah. So this is all kind of them pushing, and this ties into the agenda of them pushing to make it normalising paedophilia and everything. But why do they do it? Basically because we're run by a satanic death cult who follow those type of dark sciences and to gain youth and things like that. Yeah.
And you can actually use that kind of boxed answer for every single topic within the deep state map or the matrix, whatever it is that you want to call it. Why is it that they do eugenics? Well, because it's a death cult that's 500,000 years old. Well, why is it that they do world wars? Well, because it's a death cult. Why is it that they're doing GMOs? Well, because it's a death cult. Why are they geoengineering our skies? Well, because it's a death cult. Without going into the actual specifics on every single topic, it is literally because it's a death cult, and they're all about the depopulation and keeping us down. And whoever it is that remains, if they win, which they won't, because we already have one. But if they were to win, then whoever remains on Earth is further a slave and would be food. Part of it would be food, which would be fed to the other human slaves, Soylent Green.
That's basically it. So this is, literally, as Dawn said, it covers everything, and that's why, because they, and this then ties into the whole biblical thing about the Nephilim and the Elohim and, the Book of Enoch, and even going down to other cultures, the Mayans, the Aztecs, who had sacrifice and blood drinking and loads of stuff. That's basically, it's covered. Some of these are big topics, so if we do go off slightly, that's why, because it's so much detailed stuff, and to try and put it in a video, 20 minutes or whatever, that we try to do this of these, however many 6-7 topics that I've gone through that we were going to do today. It's hard to do it that way. Anyway, why do elites do paedophilia and pedophilism? Because they're part of and whether you believe satanic death cult or not, but they're part of some form of death cult, hidden sciences which are very dark, very dark. Okay?
Yeah.
I think that's about covered. Yeah?
No, it's about
do you want to do the way of you? Sorry.
So
leading on from that one, we're continuing. This then ties into coming on nicely too.
Wayfair, the scandal that is at the moment. Wow, shocking. So Wayfair is a online store, furniture store, homeware store, and it ships globally, and basically it's been found, or should I say it's alleged, that Wayfair are trafficking children, and they're doing that by advertising a storage cabinet that should be really retailing at like $200-300, whatever country it is that you're in, and they're retailing them at like 10 to 15,000. And the reason for that is because the normal average Joe Bloggs, you and I, are not going to be going to buy a storage cabinet for your garage at 10 to 15,000 pounds. So you wouldn't even look at that as an option. But if you're in the knowledge of paedophilia and the trafficking, and if you're in that, then you're aware to have a look at bizarre furniture that should cost you 200 quid that is actually retailing at a bizarre price of like 15,000. And very, very coincidentally, the items that are being sold on Wayfair, some of them have female names, and if you take that particular SKU or like the item code and put that into Yandex website, you will see that it comes up with the child that has the same name, and she just happens to be missing. You can also, there are also American sites that you're able to go onto to like I can't remember the name, but it's like missingchild.america.org or whatever it may be. I will link it below. But there's some similarities coming up there with regards to names. Recent missing children as well over the last couple of months. One of the things that I will say is that I have been quite surprised how many people have asked me if Amazon are also trafficking. I thought people were already aware that Amazon were.
Allegedly. Yeah.
Potentially, possibly, maybe, kind of. Who knows? Yes.
But there's some very interesting evidence on why people have proposed this, so it might be worthwhile going and further looking and researching into that evidence and finding why people state that things like have stated that allegedly Wayfair have done this, allegedly Amazon, allegedly
Wish, allegedly Alibaba.com, allegedly AliExpress. So they all...
FYI, allegedly, not allegedly, I actually did this. We went onto AliExpress and there is, you can buy red powder stuff which is labelled as adrenochrome. And there's hundreds of adverts.
And on Wish too.
You did Wish as well?
Yeah.
Right, Wish as well.
I actually got a recommended item, which makes me wonder if, as we know, Facebook kind of like watches what it is that you're searching for on Google and DuckDuckGo and all that kind of stuff. If Wish do the same, because what was recommended to me was bottles and bottles of adrenochrome, and I don't want powdered adrenochrome or even liquid adrenochrome.
We don't want
adrenochrome at all.
We're going down the path of meditation, service to others, and happy thoughts. That's what we're trying to do. Yeah. We're not doing the dark room. No. So so that's kind of like with Wayfair, and along with that one, obviously, as well as that,
Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine Maxwell, still obviously within the whole like paedophilia scenario. So British socialite, and it says on Wikipedia that she's known for her connections to Jeffrey Epstein, and that she is just a British hobnobber. But the thing is that she isn't that. She is Mossad. She is Israeli intelligence, as is her father, who is an ex-UK MP. And we all know him as Robert Maxwell. He also owned the Mirror Group and kind of did away with everybody's pensions there, which was a lot like Philip Green, like he did with the British Home Stores pensions. But he was actually born Ludwig Hock, and he is also Israeli intelligence.
Allegedly.
Jeffrey Epstein is allegedly Israeli intelligence as well. Now,
just one other quick thing. Can I also just point out in regards to Ghislaine Maxwell is allegedly, just so we don't get the video taken off. Allegedly.
Everything is alleged.
Yes. That's what disclaimer at the beginning. I want to start.
Everything is
allegedly. Sorry, apologies. Go on.
But in my true humble opinion, which absolutely means nothing to anybody, she is a massive paedophile, I feel. Maxwell, I believe, is a recruiter, groomer and paedophile. She recruited a manner of humans for Jeffrey's Island, whether it be cleaners or victims or, certain jobs. You're trafficked and you will be a maid. You're trafficked and you will be, unfortunately, a victim of the worst of the worst. So that's what she did. Bizarrely enough, Epstein flew planes, and he shared the number on his plane was the same number as the Department of Defense, as far as I'm aware. So
What does that mean?
So basically what that means is that when you go and fly and you go to land your plane, if you are Department of Defense or you're a military plane or anything like that, you don't have your cargo checked, you don't have to have logs checked or anything like that at all. So yeah, Jeffrey Epstein's plane, his plane number was actually shared with a Department of Defense or a Department of Justice plane, but either way it was a military plane number that it was shared with, which meant that he got no cargo checked, nothing like that at all.
He didn't have to go through customs or that whole thing. So.
At the bottom of Epstein's Island is a submarine bay. Ghislaine Maxwell not only pilots planes, but she pilots submarines as well. So what we can do here is just speculate and have a bit of a think between us, is that if she has the availability to pilot planes and pilot subs, and she has somewhere to go, and if she is someone of that mind that would actually traffic children, say for example that she's in Portugal, because there's an e-fit out at the moment with regards to Madeleine McCann's suspects, and they look terribly like the Tony and John Podesta, and the female looks like Ghislaine Maxwell. So if you kind of connect the dots there, you might be able to go, oh, Ghislaine could have actually taken Madeleine McCann, by a submarine to Epstein's Island. And maybe that's the reason why Madeleine McCann is now back out in the news, because Ghislaine Maxwell is also out in the news. And drip, 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 into the consciousness, these people are connected. That's what I feel anyways. Your thoughts are your thoughts, and you're more than welcome to have them. But that is the reason why that I feel that Madeleine McCann is now back in the mainstream media, because of the Maxwell bombshell. And I also do wonder if Maxwell is a keystone, because as we know with regards to the Q drops, Q talks about the keystone all the time, and what happens when the keystone drops. Obviously then everything else kind of falls in and around it, it kind of all implodes. If she has dropped all of the names and she has everybody on tape, as is what is suspected and what is being said by Virginia Roberts' lawyer, that he's got, Andrew on tape and this person on tape and whomever, then Ghislaine Maxwell could very well be the keystone, and then everything else kind of crumbles in and around her.
And I believe also Q's also mentioned before about kind of something like follow the wives.
Follow the wives, yeah, 'cause the wives are far more the people in the background, basically.
Yeah.
People in the background, and it's never the wives that are really up front and centre. So you've got Obama, for example, and you've got, his husband that stood in the background. And then you've got
allegedly
Hillary Clinton, and she was stood in the background. But these people are potentially a lot worse. And the wives always have the charities and the foundations and the money, and it's the money that you also, need to go and follow as well. With regards to Maxwell and Obama, Clinton and Bush, I think it's very, very telling that the authorities have recently said that basically Maxwell has been able to run rife and do whatever it is that she wants for the last 24 years. But if you add the last 24 years of presidential regime up within America, you will see that it's Obama, Bush and Clinton, 888. So that's 24 years. So quite blatantly there, the authorities are telling us that the presidency that we have at the moment in America is completely different to the last 3 presidencies that we've had, because all of these paedophiles have been able to run rife around the world, traffic the world's children for the last allegedly for the past 24 years. Maxwell been on her own for like 24 years, all because she's been under these last 3 presidencies.
And which then ties in very well for people who go, oh no, Trump's part of the problem, he's just, he's part of the elites, is the problem. Again, another evidence to kind of suggest that he's not. 24 years she's been covered and everything's doing fine. Trump comes in, Epstein goes down, now Maxwell. So,
Yeah. And all of the, child trafficking executive orders that he's created, how many are they, now? And then how many national months of child abuse prevention and things like that has he done? But quite blatantly making the biggest noise about human trafficking and child sex trafficking than any other, I would say, any other leader.
No.
Anywhere. And that's, maybe there's a reason why he's as bombastic as what he is.
Yeah.
Could be a very reason why.
Yeah. So that's like a bit about just to catch up in regards to a bit about, and that's why we put it in there with the elite paedophilia stuff, because she's the madam, she's the procurer and supplier.
You're Epstein's handler. No way was she his girlfriend, which is what she's portrayed to be in the mainstream media, or, Jeffrey Epstein's girlfriend. Absolutely not at all. She was the one that basically came with the connections. Jeffrey Epstein has no money. He has no IQ. He completely flunked of physics and calculus at Harvard University, but they kept him on so he could fly a plane, so he could learn how to fly. At Harvard University, it would seem that there is some sort of deep state connection to Harvard. Is Harvard deep state completely? Because this guy completely failed all of his classes, but they allowed him to learn how to fly a plane. Why do they need him to learn how to fly a plane? Why didn't they just kick him out of college when he flunked?
Exactly.
I would have been kicked out of college.
Exactly.
I was kicked out of college.
So that's the elite paedophilia stuff. Why do they fettle kids? Because it's the satanic death cult, which
That's
secret
what they
scientists
do.
of what they do, fettling kids. As well as that, sorry, quick point, which I didn't mean to do that. That is not a symbolism. So before anybody says, "Oh, he's done the devil horns," no, apologies. So the other point I was going to make with that one as well is that was it. MK Ultra. The reason why they do it, the fettling and the trafficking and abusing the children and that sort of thing, because when a person is abused, specifically and more so a child because of the innocence, what tends to happen is that the soul, and a lot of people like not Ruth Ashcroft, the Australian one,
Fiona Barnett.
and people like that mentioned about, and even some of the drawings that they've done of when they're having the abuse done on them, there'll be points when they'll leave the body and they're watching from above what's happening to them, which is disassociation of the soul. Which, when that happens, is what also happens with that abuse. It creates basically they create an alter. Alternate personality to deal with that. When you create those alternative personalities, you can then program those alternative personalities to do what you want. So, for example, in the case of let's look at MK Ultra. What's covered in MK Ultra? Sex kitten programming. Okay, your porn stars, all this stuff, your prostitutes, your sex kittens, like what Marilyn Monroe, which unfortunately. She was one of the most famous sex kittens of them all. But this is how they do it. The abuse from early on, you create that altar, you then program that altar with whether it be physical cues or whether it be beatings, whether it be keywords, whether it be sexual abuse happening to them, whatever it may be, to basically connect them into that altered state of being. So you could essentially abuse a child numerous times, create 10 different alters, have 3 as sex kittens, have 3 as assassins, 2 as Manchurian candidates, who you understand, so they can create this and have all these people doing it. Why just have a child or a young girl, whatever it may be, woman who who's gone through that, and just have it as a sex object, when you can have them sleep with wealthy people and get them to tell them all the information, program to be a double agent or be an undercover agent, where they can collect this information, and once it's into the psyche, into the brain, can then, when put into that altered state again, can relay that information back. Where have somebody as a sex kitten who goes and then trigger it to be into an assassin altar and assassinate that person. A lot of ways to do it. So that was just the other point. Why do they also do it? Is because it helps create drones of people that they can control, really. So anyway, that's the elite paedophilia stuff. Should we do the race wars next?
Do you want to do the race wars? Not really.
No, I just wanted to really mention, and I apologise if I trigger anybody that's of ethnic origin and we're going to say, how dare you make such a small, trivialise something that happened that's so important. Now I'm going to get into all the details of, the dummy and all that stuff. It wasn't George who was, and all that stuff. I don't want to get into that one. Why we're going to mention the race wars, in regards to mention it, to basically say it's a distraction. Yeah, that's all it is. It's a distraction because of what's happening at the moment. Yeah, the weekend, was it the weekend when the BLM, the George Floyd riot started, and when people were putting photos and videos up of bricks being delivered and things like that. Remember that weekend that it all kicked off was when Hillary was in
court.
Yeah,
That was the week that Hillary was in court that week.
And Obama, was it?
No, Rod Rosenstein was in like 3 days later.
Yeah.
But basically the same week that the BLM happened, and like the pallets were the pallets that were put out that same week, where all the bricks and everything was laid on the corners for everybody to grab onto and smash the crap out of people's communities. That was like the same week that Hillary was in court.
Yeah. So this is the reason why we're not trivializing. So anybody that is triggered by us saying, "Oh, it's trivial, it's a distraction," and you're going, "How dare you?" Because of I'm not going to get. We don't want to get into I'm not going to get into it. No, it's not even worth it. Go and have a look at your history if you think it's just black people that were slaves, and black people now are the only ones that are slaves being kept in different countries. Grow up. It's poor and rich. It's about elite and slaves. It's about the owner and the owner's pets. That's all it is. It applies to everybody. Around the time when you're saying the whole black people in America, from Africa being taken over, there were Irish slaves that were taken over. Irish slaves were beaten and killed more because they were cheaper. An African slave, I think, was it $50 or something, and Irish slave cost $5.
So white people were far more expendable.
Yeah, and we're getting into all about. So it's just we wanted to mention the race wars to go. Look, stop being distracted. It's a distraction because we are very close to learning that all the people that we're told to follow, whether it be politics, musicians,
whatever,
celebrities, whatever it may be, that we put them on a pedestal and we're told to, they're amazing, do all these things. These are the ones that are doing the worst stuff. And that's just a distraction because Hillary was in court. They don't want people to know. Simple as. Okay? End of. Next, should we do Archbishop? Dean Vagano next.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have Archbishop Vagano's letter on me at the moment because I didn't bring my mobile phone upstairs,
okay.
And it's saved on my Word document on my phone. But basically,
we'll hopefully it should come up now, and we'll link it below.
Yes. But basically, within the letter, and I will highlight it so you can see, it's very similar wording as to Q drops and as to Trump rallies and when he does presses. So with regards, for example, it has the word "this is biblical" in there. There are children of light and there are children of dark. There are two factions at the moment at war. They are biblical in nature. And there's bits like that throughout the whole letter from Archbishop Vigano, basically stating his support towards Trump, or for Trump, and with regard to the human trafficking, and stopping all of that. But you do need to read it because you will see that it's communication. Learn the comms. And as far as I can see, Archbishop Vigano's letter, because it even mentions a deep state.
Yeah.
So I'll bob it up and you can have a look.
Yeah. Are we good on that one? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of links in very well what Don just said there about go and have a look, and see it for yourself and things like that. So the last topic, what we're going to do is this is kind of about just to touch on research, how, what, where, when, and why type thing, and I'll explain why that's there. A bit about QAnon linking into research and just about truthers. In general, and then we're going to have a look at just a quick post which I want to kind of do is to all the people that are kind of anons who are doing the work and have been doing the work, and just to kind of make sure you understand what's coming. Okay, by the by, so the research side.
Can I just interject? That we're preaching to any anons or truthers, because we don't know what's coming.
No,
we know nothing.
We have a good idea because of the research we've done.
Yeah.
But I can't say.
But there will be anons out there that have done more than us as well.
Yeah, of course, and we may be on, there's that whole thing. However, so the research side.
How do you research?
I apologise if anybody is triggered by that, or if anybody gets offended by that, by that statement. The reason why we brought it up and we're not doing it as a mark is just because genuinely we didn't know how to answer that, because for me it's and I think for Dawn as well, it's a very self-explanatory subject. How do you research? Well, there's this thing called the World Wide Web. You bring it up and there's various things you can look on the World Wide Web in regards to different pages where you can find information, like YouTube, like Google, like DuckDuckGo. So And the reason why we asked this is because basically we were asked this question, or Dawn was asked this question, how do you research? Well, you just go and have a look. Was the short answer. We didn't really know how to answer that, but it kind of... Right.
Yes, I just need to plug the laptop in before it dies.
All right, okay.
Carry on.
So, sorry. So, I'm going to turn that plug on while you're doing that. So the very simple answer for that one is just, how do you research? You just go and type stuff into Google and you have a look, really. And I don't mean for that to sound condescending or to mock anybody in any way, shape or form. Really, it's not. It's just genuinely, we didn't understand the question. So
No, I understood the question. I just don't understand how you don't know the answer yourself. Why are you needing to ask that question? And it's not just one person. I've been asked that question loads of times. How do you research? Well, you take the words of what it is that you're wanting to learn and you put it into the goddamn internet and you see what happens.
So, yeah. And I'm sorry, like I said, we don't mean to, but it's genuinely didn't understand that question. How do you research? We didn't get that. I just genuinely didn't know. And we did have a conversation last night, which, in our 3D minds, where we kind of, jokingly did it. And we did scenarios out. But how do you research? Go and have a look at the evidence. Don't listen to your mate Dave down the pub. Because Dave's got a big voice and he tells you that it's a load of bollocks, and your life's, well, I don't bother about that, mate. It's just football and beer, innit? Got to work, provide for family, and get drinking, innit? It's not about, if you're going to listen to that person, then you're always going to go, oh, well, everything's fine, yeah? What I did to research is that I went and looked at stuff. Simply as I went type stuff in on the internet, and when we came in, if I was interested in something, YouTube is an amazing tool.
Yeah.
To use. I mean, that's the majority when we first got started with a lot of the initial evidence of finding that information to get it, and then follow on was YouTube. Typed it in and looked at it. Didn't just look at the top few, went through and looked at it. Okay, well, I'm looking at, I don't know, let's say ETs and UFOs. I've got an inclination that we were lied to about it, so I won't just watch the video that mocks it. I'll have a look at the crazy person who's wearing a tinfoil hat going, oh, he's a coloured man, the elites are eating our babe and all this stuff, and actually look at the evidence that they provide.
And all hashtags as well on Facebook are searchable.
Yeah.
I don't actually know if everybody knows this, but you can actually search stuff on Facebook. So, for example, if you want to know about Hillary Clinton, then you would just type Hillary Clinton, and I'm not being facetious or anything, but type Hillary Clinton in on the Facebook search bar, and then go to posts, and then it'll come up with options. So posts from you, me, your friends, the pages that you're involved in, the groups that you're in, and if you click where it is that you want to see, then it will show up. If you just click your friends, it'll bring up whatever posts of your friends that have spoken about Hillary Clinton. And you could do that with any kind of word, any word. Pizza fence, bang that in, see what happens. Pizzagate, Benghazi,
and the things,
Prince Andrew, everything,
exactly,
and it will all come up. So simple.
And go and look at the stuff. If it's stuff that you don't. This is another important one I want to put in there, as well as don't just research the stuff that you think or that you believe to be not true and that is a conspiracy. From then to follow on would be then to go, for me logically, is to then look at the stuff that you gotta go mock and kind of go, that's under the umbrella of conspiracy or conspiracy theories, because let's face it, if you believe something that's not mainstream, you're a conspiracy theorist. So that's the basic thing of it, So if that's the case, then look at the stuff that you don't really believe, that you think is no, that can't be possible, and go and have a look at that. And to give just an example, if I followed the general view of when we were searching the pizza fence stuff before QAnon, when we started looking into SRA and things like that, if I'd used the mindset of, oh, no, this doesn't ring true, I'm not going to look at it, I'm not even going to bother looking at it, or I'll watch a video, that's not true, we would have never come on to the fact of an understanding, oh, really, pizza fence is happening, that, SRA and this, the whole, which opens up obviously, well, why and who are the people that are doing it, who is orchestrating the paedophilia and all this stuff, and the satanic ritual and all that, where, if you don't go and look into it and you just go, I don't believe that because my mate Dave says it's not true or whatever, or because it goes against your core beliefs, then you're never going to learn. Yeah, prime example I'd say for the one thing on that one, I had somebody quite close to us recently who mocked me through Dawn of going, I'm not listening to Anil, or why do I pay, why would I listen to anything he says, or something like that, because he was researching Flat Earth. Yes, I did research Flat Earth, because I realised a while ago that if I exclude everything that is covered in that envelope of conspiracy theories, I'm doing the exact same thing what mainstream has always done to conspiracy theories. The truth. They mock it and never research it. Yeah? This is why no archaeologists really dig past essentially 10,000 years, because, the Clovis culture, well, there was nothing around before 10,000 years, so no point digging further down. Well, actually, if we dig further down, we'll find all the evidence. Anyway, so the research part, how do you research? Go and type it into Google. Go onto YouTube. Go and talk to somebody who's on a social media that is talking about that subject. Okay, can you tell me more about this? Whatever you're looking at. Can you give me some evidence? Could you please guide me in the right place? I've not really done researching before. Be honest with them. I don't really know how to do it. Can you please give me some guidance? Yeah, it's not hard. In regards to that one, that leads us on to QAnon research.
Yes.
Yeah. One point we wanted to mention about this for the QAnon stuff is the real thing about this was because we're getting a lot of people, and we have had a lot of people over the last few months, new friends and things like that, which are coming on and basically having a go at us, and for people who research, who've kind of looked into QAnon, saying you don't know what you're talking about, that sort of thing. What was I trying to say this one? Sorry. The point I was trying to make about the kind of the QAnon thing about that is that if you don't know about QAnon, fair enough. It's a lot of work to do. Well, I think we were lucky. Sorry, we were lucky.
Yeah.
In the sense that we had a lot of time to go and do the research and actually follow QAnon. We hit on it just at the beginning when it was passed on from Meganon to QAnon. So we got everything from the beginning, and we did the research of what QAnon was saying before people came on going, oh, it's a show, it's a LARP and all this stuff. So what I will say in regards to that one for the research and the people that you mock for the QAnon researchers, don't mock the researchers and your tinfoil hat wearing people because you think they're crazy and because they're following a LARP and all this. Yeah, maybe the question to ask is how much research, how much work have these people put into it? Because what I'm tending to find is that a lot of people are coming up when they naysay a particular theory that you've looked into and you're providing evidence for. One thing we'll find is that they've not actually done any real research. They've normally watched a couple of videos on it which kind of confirm their belief of, I don't really believe this. This is in my opinion. I've had people tell me they've done loads of research and they've followed QAnon from the beginning, but they can't bring up when you mention, well, what about this? What about this? They can't seem to match it up. Anyway, so for people on that one, I'll use Dawn and me as an example. We did this calculation earlier on. For the last, 5 years we said? But the last 5 years we've done around a minimum of between I'd say something like 10 to 12 up to about 18 hours of research per day. That has dwindled off a bit in the last few months, but that is genuinely what we've done. Because of our circumstances and what happened with us, we were left that we were essentially weren't working.
With the availability, weren't we? We were left with the availability to research.
To research. And
so we did.
Yeah. So what I worked out, we sat and worked it out, because somebody brought up a good point about the 10,000 hour rule, that, looking at, I've got a Mozzie bite, sorry. So the 10,000 hour rule, that if, essentially to gain proficiency or mastery in anything that you do, whether it be research, guitar, whatever it may be that you do, 10,000 hours normally, once you've done 10,000 hours, that essentially means that you've done the work. That's your work put in, and for me, for guitar wise, I can now pick up a guitar after playing it for 15 years, and I can play stuff without thinking about it. It becomes second nature. Driving is another fine example. If you're driving and you drive a lot for more than a few years, if you ever have the occasion when you drive to work or whatever, you're driving home and you get there and you go, oh my god, I don't remember the journey. I don't remember how I got here. I don't remember any turn signals. I don't remember looking at traffic, because you're an automatic pilot. Your kind of your long term, your muscle memory, your kind of the core. What it basically goes into the thing of kind of like breathing in your second nature. It just does it automatically. So my point being on that one is that's the 10,000 hour rule. So the other thing I just wanted to say as well is that there was a Q post 4450, and it came up in a video today I was watching by Wilcock, and it actually rang very true with me, and it was very interesting. And it made me kind of think, and I had to say on this video, And the post was, do Anons understand what's about to be released? So do Anons, basically get the gravity of what's about to come in. I think this, I can't remember when roughly this, I think it was in June the 10th or something like that. It's a very good question that it asked, that do we fully understand? And for me, my thought process went to, well, I'm wondering if this is talking to with what me and Dawn have come across over the last couple of years, and more so in the last 3-4 months, where people are mocking and they're not, or they'll believe, for example, Pete's offence, but then you go further into that and go, well, what about, there's paedophilia, what about pedophilia, or what about the ET link, or what about this, what about that, and they just shut you down.
Yeah.
So this is a very important point, and again, from the research, what we've done, and to kind of say to you is that just be prepared for it. If you're dismissing any conspiracy theory, any of the truths that are out there, without actually going to check the information and doing your own research, whether that be to watch people who've done videos who provide a bit of information, and provide the links, and you go and have a look at those links to have a look at a backup, just to confirm it. If you're not kind of doing that and following it through and looking at every conspiracy theory and actually investigating it, rather than just going, well, it's mocked in it, it's not real. So many people say to me, well, it's not real flat earth, is it? And I sat there, and the reason why I looked into it, flat earth is not real, by the way. I've researched into it. It satisfied my need to go, it's not real. But my point being is that, unless you're going to go and look at that one, and people mock me for doing it, but what I got in, a lot of people say, well, why are you wasting your time? Well, no, I'm not wasting my time, because I know, and I can, when flat earth has now come up with saying the equation for working out the curvature of the earth, or the B-field-Brown theory. B-field-Brown theory, somebody said that to me to prove that gravity wasn't real, hence the world isn't real and it's flat. What the fuck? So anyway, my point being is that, if you're not going to go and look into this stuff to go and actually, because at first when I saw the first flat earth stuff, and I was like, oh shit, there might be something in this, but then you look at the evidence and I had to go and do about a month's worth of research on it, and you go, this is bullshit. But I now know it's bullshit. I'm sorry for triggering any flat earthers, but I know it's bullshit, and I can now provide the evidence. So when somebody comes up to me, well, what about this flat earth thing, that might be real, I can go, no, stop being a dickhead, here's the evidence to prove it's not. So look at all the theories, because what Q is talking about is very important here. That do Anons understand what is about to be released? Do Anons understand the gravity and how mind-blowing and world-shattering what is about to be released and what's going to come off the back of it? Because this then, once the Pizza Vent stuff is released, that then ties into the satanic ritual, whether you believe in SRA or not. But that then links into the pedophilia, and that then links into ET and everything. Okay, so that was really it. Just those little few points for today for this video.
And it was meant to be around about 25 minutes, 30 minutes long, but as you can tell, Neil likes to talk. Everybody thinks that he's really quiet, but actually when he gets onto his juicy stuff, I just can't stop him. But thank you very much for listening. We love you very, very much. Thank you for being with us on our Facebook, kind of Twitter, YouTube, although the YouTube has been minimal, but thank you for being with us on our journey so far.
Yes, please subscribe. I haven't done this before. Subscribe.
Comment, subscribe.
Thank you. If you have any other suggestions, yes, we have tried to keep this video short. However, as you can see, there's
we failed.
A lot of information on this. So if you want any more detailed videos done about any of the subjects we talked about today, anything else that you think, oh yeah, I want to know about it. If you've got any topics you want a quick video doing, where you can, somebody to go, look, this is what the general outlay. Here's some information. Go and have a look. Whatever. Please comment. We'll try and respond best we can. And all on it. But apart from that, do have a lovely evening. Remember, please don't have nightmares. And peace and love to you guys.
Where we go on, we go on.